There we go. Trav, you haven't seen, there's been a little bit of news this week. Basically, the new head of Xbox has been absolutely kicking ass. Granted, obviously, layoffs are not good, and there's been a lot of layoffs, but Bethesda has been having some issues. So I got this video of Bethesda just lost Fallout. It's about 2 weeks old, July 12th. And then I have this tweet as well, which I'm going to go over after. But basically, Bethesda is one of the most storied
let's go
game
back to
studios. One of the most storied game studios, right?
March
out there. And they make they did a video on the tweet as well. Really? Okay, I'll look at it after. Oh, thank you, Retro. I appreciate that. Sorry, Retro was getting me my Pal World thumbnail.
Oh no!
Limits.
What I missed?
Nothing yet. You're just coming in. Basically, they haven't done anything in a long time for Fallout or for Elder Scrolls, other than Fallout 76. And nobody wants to fucking play Fallout 76. And it has been 15 years, I think, since Skyrim came out. And they haven't even started on Elder Scrolls 6 yet. They still haven't even started it, which is ridiculous. And honestly, I think Xbox would have the right to take away that franchise from them. Because in what world can you go 15 years without doing your job and still be fine? I don't know. Anyways, lock in.
All right, let's go back to March 2021. Microsoft just purchased ZeniMax for $7.5 billion. Reports come out that Bethesda is still in charge of their IP, though. Everything has to go through Todd. So 5 years go by. The Fallout TV show is a huge hit. Fallout is just more popular than ever. But 5 years have gone by. And the only way to play new Fallout content is through Fallout 76 update.
Sorry, maybe not horrible, but it's not good.
No new game has been greenlit, and Fallout 5 won't come until...
I'm working in game dev, and trust me, Bethesda and Xbox deserve each other.
Probably the late...
I really do think, like, Asha is trying to pull Xbox out of the bullshit it's been in. Because, like, there was reports that all of Xbox has been basically being floated by Minecraft.
2030s. Now, Xbox has been run by a gamer for over a decade. And things have never been worse. Phil gets replaced by Asha, who is notably not a gamer. And Asha takes...
And I think a lot of people were very critical, like, oh no, like she's going to come in and AIify everything. And she's actually been good.
To look at Xbox's most popular IP and sees Fallout and Elder Scrolls.
Fallout's been 11 years.
Haven't had a release in 11 and 15 years.
Holy
real
shit.
Actual releases. So Asha goes online and sees fans do in fact still love these franchises. And within a couple of months of being in charge, has seen the most obvious move available to them and acted on it. And I kind of see it like this. At the top, you have Xbox, and then there's Bethesda Game Studios and Obsidian. Bethesda has their IP with Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and Starfield.
Obsidian made Fallout New Vegas, right?
Oblivion has a whole bunch of things going on over there, including 2 mystery projects. Now, of course, the head of Xbox was Phil Spencer. And I think Phil would think to himself, I'm going to go and find out what my developers are doing. So he would come down to Bethesda Game Studios and he would, knock on the door. And of course, Todd would come out and, these guys are good friends.
Like, let me guess. He would tell them to come play Fallout 76.
Known each other for a while. And I imagine Phil would be curious.
Wait, wouldn't Phil Spencer end up actually... Like, I thought I remember there's screenshots of Phil Spencer being found all the time in Fallout 76. So they both loved it.
About what's going on with the various projects over at Bethesda. He would ask how Elder Scrolls is going. And I'm sure Todd would lie and say, they're getting there. Everything's moving along nice and smoothly. Phil might come down here and then he might just
so cheating 2 months.
And you'd come over here and you'd say, well, what's going on with this one, Todd? And Todd would be like, oh, well, that one, no, we're doing more with that one than we ever have before. Like, Phil, have you tried Fallout 76 recently? And we can only assume that Phil would be satisfied with this conversation. He'd be like, oh, I'm so glad you're doing so much with Fallout, Todd. Oh, I can't wait to see Elder Scrolls. I can't wait, Todd. He'd probably get a good whiff of Todd's aura while he's there. And he'd walk his happy ass right back to Xbox and just do nothing. Todd would wipe his brow because he dodged another bullet from what could have been, maybe some management coming down on him. And he'd walk his happy ass back into Bethesda and continue to do nothing as well. But eventually, you can't run a business like this, and Phil got tossed out. This is when
I really did always wonder how they went like this for so long without doing anything.
We got Asha, and while she might look friendly on the outside, I think there's a little something going on in there. Asha does not like inefficiencies. So when Asha took over Xbox and, she was thinking about what her developers are doing, I imagine she eventually made her way over to Bethesda Game Studios and, knocked
They'll never challenge the teams. Jason reported that he basically let the teams do whatever they wanted, and he was a hands-off kind of guy. I kind of respect that, though. Like, I respect being a hands-off kind of guy, but sometimes they're not doing their work. They need a kick in the ass. Like, it needs to happen. Like, it happens. It happens everywhere where sometimes shit's not going well and you need to right the ship again.
Todd came out and he thought, oh, this will be an easy one, right? Asha started asking questions, hey, Todd, where's this one at? Todd probably tried his bullshit answers, which, that may have gotten him somewhere with the Elder Scrolls because they are in production and everything like that. I'm sure Asha was a little bit more understanding when it came to something that they're actively making, at least.
This doesn't mean you have to neglect your team. I don't think it's neglect. I think it's like you're trusting them too much. Or like, if anything, they're actually taking advantage of you because you think, oh, if I'm hands off, right, then I'm going to let them be let them do their creative process without too much oversight. But like, I wouldn't say it's being lazy. I think it's genuinely like, he's probably knew all these people for years and was like, yeah, like, I'm going to trust their process. They know what they're doing. But also, yes, there's some accountability there. Like, at some point, you have to check in and be like, hey, when's this thing coming? And if they just keep saying, oh, at some point, you need like a more concrete answer,
Eventually, you have to.
So I think it's both sides.
Asha came over here and was like, well, Todd, I see a lot of people online like this one. And so Todd thought, I've done this a million times. I can dodge this one again. Well, you see, Asha, we're doing more with Fallout than we ever have before. Have you seen 76? And Asha probably turned to him and said, yes, Todd, I have seen Fallout 76. It's not your greatest work, I wouldn't say. Todd, we have another studio with a lot of people that have experience with this IP here. And this is where I can only imagine Todd got kind of sad because he knew where things were going. Yeah, Todd, I think we're gonna let them take a crack at it. And she turned around and she grabbed her Fallout IP, and I imagine she walked right over to Obsidian, where she then looked at some.
Dude, the editing of this is actually so good.
Some things people like, but it's just she's a numbers kind of girl. It's just probably just not the kind of stuff she's looking.
I'm not gonna lie, I do not know what Avowed
especially that
or
not the kind of
Pillars of Eternity are.
Especially that one. And apparently down here, one of these mystery projects looked a lot like Fallout. Asha probably wondered, what should I do here? I don't think it was really that big of a decision. She just kind of took everything Obsidian was working on and then she took Fallout and she just kind of placed it right there. She called that a job done, turned around,
it's like Elder Scrolls?
Right back to Xbox. And I just want to point out how poetic this is. I mean, Bethesda was incredibly aggressive in obtaining the Fallout IP from Interplay. And so after over 15 years of Bethesda being in basically sole control of Fallout, it only took a few months of a new boss to just give the IP right back to Obsidian. And I'm not saying that Obsidian owns the IP or anything now. I mean, as we can all tell, Xbox clearly owns the IP right now.
Well, Microsoft owns all of them, so they can do whatever the fuck they want,
I think it's
really.
important to realize that Todd does not get to make the decisions on Fallout anymore. And of course, I'm sorry for anybody who was looking forward to Avowed 2, all maybe like 12 of you.
Honestly,
but this right here just clearly is the better decision.
You can screen my message. New Xbox director isn't going to do anything good. She turned around and fired 3,200 people and get Indian replacement for it. Well, first off, let's chill on the second half of that. Second off, it is very clear Microsoft Xbox is bloated. They own legitimately more than half of the industry, and games can't get out the fucking door. They're getting their ass beat by indie games all day long. When was the last time Microsoft had a title outselling everyone around them? They really don't. They don't do shit. They can't go anywhere. Forza? I'll give you Forza. I'll give you Forza. What about before Forza? Considering they own half the industry. Fallout 4 was 2015. BG3 wasn't Microsoft. Vasca, I think in 3 months. Maybe they own a share in oh my god, I forget the name. Oh my god, Valerian. I forget what the fucking name is, but I don't think that was Microsoft. Valerian, thank you. I don't know if they own a share of it, but I don't think Valerian's owned by Microsoft, are they? I don't think so. Was Expedition 33 Microsoft? Nope. Expedition 33 is a quote unquote indie studio, but they were sort of not, but they were at the same time. That one's a little more gray, but again, no. So nothing. Like they got nothing.
Best for business, and it's just what I wanted, so I'm happy for it. And I know
Fallout, Halo, Elder Scrolls, COD even has kind of. I mean, they own Blizzard, right? Like COD, Overwatch, WoW, all of these things haven't dominated in a very long time. Even though WoW is, the Blizzard games all are doing about what they used to do. Like they're just kind of like leveled off, right? But those are just live service games that they just hold now, right? Gears, I don't think. I mean, isn't there another Gears coming out soon? But like the last Gears didn't blow people away. I played it. It didn't blow people away. Like it didn't take over. Like it was good. It was good. And I like Gears.
So you've seen a thumbnail, an article, a full video. I know you know.
Fable looks cool. I agree. But it's not here yet.
But there is a new Fallout game reportedly coming from Obsidian. Now, of course, reportedly means it's a rumor, so it's like insider info or something. But it is important to mention that this is directly from Jason Schreier. The article I'm using at the top is Forbes, and this is from Paul Tassi. But that's just because Bloomberg wants money from me to read their articles. Just for credibility's sake, a few things that Jason has gotten right. He accurately predicted that Fallout 4 was set in Boston in 2013. Of course, it wasn't revealed until 2015 that was true. He also leaked an entire...
Can I be honest with you? It was really cool that it was based in Boston, but man, that map pissed me off. It made no sense. That map made no fucking sense. Like different towns that were in different areas. Not even close to how it actually was. I know it's not supposed to be that way, but like when you live there and you're like, why the fuck are these towns 9 million years apart? Why the fuck are these towns in the middle of these two, you know?
Your script for Fallout 4's main storyline. He called Xbox closing Arcane, Tango, and other studios before it happened. He was right about 2023 Epic layoffs before it happened. He called The Last of Us Online being shut down, and just among many other things. There are some people that for some reason don't like Jason. I don't care. He's right about things, and that's what I care about. Something incredibly important with this news is that Josh Sawyer is reportedly going to be like the project lead of this game. He is, of course, most known for being the project director on Fallout New Vegas. And that just lends a ton of credibility to the project in general. But it doesn't stop with Josh. There are actually a lot of people working at Obsidian right now that will assumingly be working on this game because it's basically the only thing Obsidian is doing right now.
The funny thing is, though, is like they just handed it to them, right? So they're going to get started. But we're, what, 11 years ago? We still haven't gotten anything since. So like we're just starting now. So see you in 3 years.
He has been there since the start. 4? He was the division director on Fallout 1, and he had 4 different high-level roles for Fallout 2. He was also the CEO of Obsidian during New Vegas. Now, Fergus is more of an executive type role. He is not.
I'm lost. Why is this important? It's important because some of the biggest storied franchises like Elder Scrolls, Fallout, all of these things that have been under the Microsoft umbrella and Bethesda umbrella, Microsoft or / Xbox has officially finally taken it from them and said, no, like we're done waiting for you.
Part of making the games, I don't think,
because they haven't been making games. They straight up haven't made it. So like this is the this is the Obsidian studio.
Don't worry, because
that is going to take over making a new Fallout game.
Probably a name that you know. He is the original creator of Fallout. He also has a YouTube
so Xbox.
channel
So the overarching company is Xbox. Here's Bethesda. Here's Obsidian. Bethesda's always owned it. They're taking it from them and giving them to the other side, into someone else.
Definitely check out.
Because they're not moving.
And for Fallout 1, he was the producer, lead programmer, and original game designer. And he also did original game design for Fallout 2. Now, Tim Kaine notably didn't work on New Vegas, so he is more of an OG Fallout type guy. I mean, the entire thing was his idea to begin with. And also along those lines, we have Leonard Boyarsky. He was the lead artist, art director, and also did original game design for Fallout 1.
Dude,
and he
Fallout
also did original
1,
game design
shit.
for Fallout 2.
Fallout 1 is like a top-down game.
Is that Leonard, Tremel Ray Isaac, and George Almond were basically the art team that created Vault Boy and all of the various cards and everything.
Tim Kaine is the GOAT? I think he is a YouTuber.
Were in the original Fallout games. And last but certainly not least, we have John Gonzalez, and he was the lead creative designer and writer for New Vegas. He is credited with many characters such as Mr. House, Yes Man, Benny, and many more.
That's
There are
heat.
even more people at Obsidian that worked on the original Fallout games and on Fallout New Vegas. And sadly, we are missing Chris Avallone, who was incredibly important to Fallout 2 and New Vegas. But in spite of that,
what does that mean, Sarah?
We still have an amazing Fallout team here, and I really just can't wait to see what they do. Paul Tassi's article goes.
Yeah, I mean, like having basically the entire team, or having a lot of the leads, like the top level makers of Fallout New Vegas, which is one of the most beloved, if not most beloved, Fallout game. Personally, I like 3 more because I have just more of an attachment to it. It's a more nostalgia thing, but I can acknowledge how good New Vegas was.
To say, it seems like we are entering something of a common sense era for Xbox, in terms of many major decisions being made, such as immediately reducing the absurd 50% price hike on Game Pass, which instantly lost the service millions of subscribers. And he goes on to point out,
wait, that's actually gas. Because like the last 5 years have just been companies just trying to raise the prices on things as much as they can to see if people will break. You know who is honestly really good at this? Netflix. Netflix just kept raising their price every month. They're like, oh, well, no one's unsubscribing, right? No one's unsubscribing, so they just kept putting it up higher and higher and higher. But recently they stopped, so they must have saw a fall off on the recent one. They're like, ooh, now we have to stop doing it.
Out why this was so common.
But I don't know why Game Pass. Like Game Pass's whole thing was like, oh, use Game Pass, you pay every month. But guess what? Like, you know, it's much cheaper if you play a bunch of games. Cool, down. Then it became not cheaper than playing a bunch of games. I'd rather just buy one because there's only one game every month that comes out that you typically really want. And then there's a couple indie games and you can get 2 of them for a lot of times like 30, 40 bucks instead. Right? And then you own those games forever. And then there's going to be months where you don't have to buy anything.
He says Obsidian's Avowed underperformed, yet a sequel was greenlit anyway. And if we check the Steam charts, we can see that it peaked at under 20k, which just isn't where you want to be, with a current player base of about 500. He points out that Obsidian is widely known for New Vegas, and that Bethesda was not slated to release a new mainline Fallout entry until well into the 2030s. And if
Bethesda was not slated to release a Fallout game till late in the well into the 2030s. Bro, that's another 4+ years from now? And the last one was Fallout 76, which was fucking when?
Of course, the IP is more popular than ever thanks to the Amazon TV show. He goes on to say 2+.
No, like genuinely, how do you get away with not doing your job for this long? Like, I feel really bad for layoffs. Like, layoffs suck, right? Like, people losing their job is never a good thing. But like, at the same time, that's like their management's fault for they're just not doing anything for years. How the fuck are they getting away with that?
2 equals Obsidian should make a new Fallout game. This is probably a decision that should have been made years ago, as this will not come to pass until years from now. Even with Xbox trying to accelerate timelines on AAA games, it's still going to be a years-long wait. Anything less than 3 would be a miracle. The original development cycle on Fallout New Vegas was just 18 months, but that was in 2009. And 17 years later, boy, has the industry changed.
That's true.
Paul is probably right about this. If I had to do a possible timeline, in 2010, the average dev cycle was about 3 to 4 years for a AAA game. New Vegas famously took 18 months. And that was, of course, using Bethesda's tools, and Obsidian at the time just kind of got shit done. Now, in 2026, the average dev cycle is about 5 to 6 years for a AAA game. So in New Vegas terms, a new Fallout could take maybe 3 years. And to be honest, Obsidian still gets shit done.
Couldn't they use like the Starfield engine? But the Starfield engine's the same thing as basically the older engines. Just I don't even know if they even updated it. You know, like if they really wanted to get something out the door. But I feel like people did not like Starfield's engine. Like they thought it felt like old clunky game, right? Even though I enjoyed Starfield just because I got to experience having another like Fallout-like game again. Like it was kind of nice and nostalgic, even though I could acknowledge that the game was just like not good and not what it should have been. Like it was nice to have something, right? I guess they could probably get one out faster if they used that engine, but I don't know if that's a good idea.
There's one thing they can do, it's ship a fucking game. The article goes on to say at least one theory as to why Obsidian didn't start on a Fallout.
You have to buy Garnet Pass now if you WSNT to play anything online that isn't F2P. Xbox's Live is rolled into Game Pass.
Wait, what? Game Pass is rolled into Xbox Live? Since when? I mean, I'm sure there's like a deal you can do it, but there's no way you can't have them separate.
Title at Xbox was the idea that perhaps Bethesda didn't want that. I want to point out that this is not a theory. Todd has said this multiple times publicly, even if not in those exact words. One that I remember is in 2018, he did an interview with The Guardian. This was after E3 2018, of course. And these are
2010, Bethesda plugged in a long gap between its own Fallout games by letting out other developer Obsidian give the series a spin. The result was a new Fallout New Vegas, a game that Bethesda's technology had, but a different style of writing and characterization, filling in more shades of gray with the game's moral choices. According to Howard, this isn't something that Bethesda plans to do again. I wouldn't say never, he says, but now that our company is so big, it's always better to keep stuff internal. It becomes less likely, but I could never say never. I thought the Obsidian guys did a great job. But this is a great example of, like, you got too big at that point and you just weren't getting anything done.
Critical interviews are always weird. It doesn't really say what the question was. They just kind of go on about how Obsidian made New Vegas and this and that. So I can only assume the question was something like, would you ever let Obsidian make another Fallout game? And Todd's response is, I wouldn't say never. But now that our company is so big, it's always better to keep stuff internal. It becomes less likely, but I could never say never. I thought the Obsidian guys did a fabulous job.
I mean, it's kind of almost like an egotistical answer in a way, like unintentionally, where it's like, oh, like we're so big now, like we don't need them. Like we could do it ourselves. Like we have enough people.
And Todd has had some form of this response to this kind of question every single time.
You know, this reminds me of, hopefully I don't get in trouble. I might get in trouble, but like I have heard companies that say this kind of stuff where they don't want to like work with creators or anything like that. Actually, Overwatch used to do it a lot. Overwatch used to do it where they wouldn't want to work with creators for like events or for like announcements of certain things, or do like sponsorships back in the day, because like their ideology was, why would we do it? Why would we pay to have it done on their channels when we can just do it on our own? And then they would never realize that they would have limited growth or limited reach just to people that already follow them or already a part of their game, as opposed to expanding beyond that.
I didn't have Game Pass. Had to get Game Pass, Xbox Live, which has Paul World on it anyway.
What? Wait, I actually didn't know that's a thing now, that they're combined. That's actually kind of wild. But yeah, like a lot of companies fall victim to this where they think they're just too big and they like can't, like they're like, yeah, we don't need other people, we got this.
Paul goes on to say, but now Bethesda released a somewhat underwhelming Starfield and is staring down the barrel of an Elder Scrolls 6 that will probably not be out until a decade after it was first announced. So I never miss an opportunity to rag on Starfield. I just want to point out we're right back
330,000 peak down to 4K.
Down to where we were.
That's probably less than Skyrim right now.
Stupid fucking update. Right down to under the 5K players. And when it comes to Elder Scrolls 6 releasing, I mean, IGN has something to say about that. IGN made this article after all of the layoffs that Xbox did recently, and it's titled, "The Elder Scrolls 6 Will Suffer Because of Xbox Layoffs." Bethesda staff say, fearing delays, crunch, and generational talent being replaced by contractors. The article goes on
But like, the game original Skyrim came out in 2011. We're in 2026. How long did you need? Like, GTA 6 came out, or GTA 5 came out, what, 2013? GTA 6 comes out this year. GTA 6 will come out before Elder Scrolls 6. And GTA 6 is 100 times more hype.
Say, speaking on conditions of anonymity, that's such a hard word to say. Current and former staff had told me that job losses across Bethesda Game Studio locations have removed more than 50 employees, including key high-performing people in the trenches, building the company's long-awaited Skyrim successor. This, in turn, they say, has shattered morale, raised the risk of future development crunch, and increased the likelihood that the game's already far-off completion date will be delayed.
So then they're just cooked.
People. They also said we were already running a tight ship and are worried about this delaying the game. And I gotta push.
How tight of a ship could you be running though to take 15 years to make a game?
Back on this a little bit. I know a lot of people always think that like only the executives can be wrong. All of the little guys that work at the studio, they're probably all just hardworking individuals and blah, 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 blah. And I'm sure that is true.
That's not always
a lot
true.
Of the time. But
it is true a lot of the time, but that's not always true.
The time. And in the case of Bethesda Game Studios, do you really see a company that has increased productivity with more employees? This picture shows just Bethesda Game Studios. This is a graph that has been passed around a lot, and it usually has a bunch of other studios that were helping Bethesda Game Studios, and they would be like layered on top of these other bars. I've gotten rid of those just to...
And I mean, like, the more people you add, like, this, remember we had the balance conversation? It's like, you can't just hire more devs and you're going to fix your game. Like, it's already hard enough to get 10 people to agree on one thing. Then make it 100 people to agree on one thing. Then make it 300 people. Make it 400 people to agree on one vision. That's fucking impossible.
Show you Bethesda Game Studios themselves. At the time of releasing Starfield,
no, Palworld's after
they
this.
were up to about 400 employees at just BGS. When they released Skyrim, they were at about 100. Skyrim came out 3 years after Fallout 3. Are we starting to notice something here? A dev team that is 4 times bigger than it was before is now apparently really struggling to make this fucking game. I'm sure a lot of that comes down to executive management and all of that. But also some people might just fucking suck at their job. And they might have to be fired. There is something at Bethesda.
Yeah, and it's never good. It's never good to have layoffs. Like, it always sucks when people lose their jobs. Like, it's never a good thing. But at the same time, though, you can become too big of a company, right? Like, if you watched any of the Streamer University stuff, like one of Ludwig's classes, he was talking about how he tried to launch a company where he would help streamers. The company was to help streamers make good content, right? Like, they were a production company in a way. And then he hired 30 plus people and realized, oh shit, we're losing millions of dollars. And he had to like let them all go and shutter the company because he was losing millions of dollars and they weren't getting anything done. And the people that were working under him, like, he had someone that was working under him that said that, like, it was not telling him how much money they were losing and they were not being honest about how things were going. I'd argue that's someone who's not good at their job and they were in a leading position, and that person probably costed the other 30 people their jobs. And that sucks because he's the top, like Ludwig in this case would be the top person who has to let all these people go, but he's also the one signing the checks. In this example, it's Xbox, and they have 400 people here or more that are all working here, and people here, and people here probably are not doing their jobs correctly, right? They just aren't. It sucks, but like, they're not on the same page. They're taking forever to get stuff out the door, and like, at some point you have to say, okay, like, we don't want you to lose your job, but you're costing us millions of dollars and not getting us a product. We have to do something, right? Yo, what's up, Sauce?
That is incredibly inefficient. It's inefficient, and there is like no quality standard whatsoever. They need big changes over at Bethesda, and if this is something that has to happen, it just fucking has to happen. There are more developers who were speaking out, but they were apparently the previous lead quest.
Unfortunate news, I, along with many of my peers in Fallout 76, been laid off as part of a larger Xbox restructuring. Part of my 7 years on the project and my time helping lead quest design for the game. To all my peers in the same boat, my sincere condolences, and all my peers still remaining. Good luck. If anyone out there, okay.
Designer at Bethesda for Fallout 76. And he tweeted, in unfortunate news, I, along with many of my peers on Fallout 76, have been laid off as a part of the larger Xbox restructuring. I'm proud of my 7 years on the project and my time helping.
And it doesn't sound like this was somebody that was working on the next games. They were working on
the entire main quest line of Fallout 76 and even most of the side quests. And I don't think that you were good at your job. Do I feel bad on a human level? Sure, I don't want anybody to lose their job. But if you're bad at your job, it's time to get a new job. The article goes on to say it is likely that the studio may not have much.
It probably sounds horrible to say, right? You know what? I saw Solace here. I'm going to use Solace as an example. Solace is actually one of the editors that applied for the editing job of editing Flash TV. It's fantastic. Like, literally, seriously knows his shit. We had over 300 applicants. We watched every single one's application that were actually legitimate. And there was a lot of people who applied that I could see we had potential talent, but they just weren't there, right? And I think when you get to a AAA studio level, like, there's a reason why people hold AAA studios to another level. Like, they cost more money. People expect it to be a top quality product. And if the people that are working there are not putting out top quality product, then that's tarnishing the reputation of the rest of the industry and the rest of the company, right? So it's like, you know, I've worked corporate. There's a lot of nepotism that goes on. Like, one of my least favorite phrases, but also most important phrases, is it's not always what you know, it's who you know. One of my best friends in college was a fucking dumbass. We went to high school together, went to college. His dad was the VP of a Fortune 10 company, and he was very well off and well connected. And he literally got like $100,000 a year job straight out of college. And he was a stupid fuck. Stupid as fuck. That guy probably, I don't know what he does now. He's left and gone to different companies, but he's worked his way up quick. He makes a couple, I'd say like 2, 3, I think he makes around 300,000 a year now. We're both the same age. Just working corporate. And he does nothing. He golfs all day. He fucks around. The amount of times I've seen videos of him just like, he's in his pool in Florida. Does fuck all. I have another friend of mine. Brilliant. Guy was straight A student, 4.0, volunteer, did all this stuff. He got like a 35K a year job out of college and has worked his way up. And I don't know how much he's making now, but he's accelerated as time has gone on, but he's not as sociable. And you know what? You can tell. People just don't care because he's not as sociable, he's not as like interactive, but he knows his shit and he's very smart. And it's like the people who are interacting more and the people who are like friendlier more end up getting those promotions and get pushed along. And it's sad. And that probably happened here, where there's a company with 400 people. People are going to push their friends. They're going to push other people that they wanted their friends to do well, as opposed to making a good product. And sometimes you need to come through and just like with a hot knife, just cut off, I don't want to say the cancer of it, but like genuine, it almost is a cancer where it's like it's growing and growing and growing and causing more problems. And it's only replicating itself. You need to cut it off eventually.
Much leverage to protest something like this these days. Fallout is Xbox's. If it wants Obsidian to make a Fallout game so players can get their hands on one before 2035, it's going to do that. And yeah, that's what's gonna happen. It was the common sense move 5 fucking years ago. And it took a former Instacart executive with no gaming experience to step in and within months make that decision. It shows me, and it should show you, that this could have been done from the start.
Firing all IDs tech team isn't cutting off cancer. That's straight up awful. You're not listening. You're not listening to what I'm saying. Respectfully. Obviously, it's always sad when people lose their jobs. This company is well known and exists because of Elder Scrolls and Fallout. They have not released a game in 16 years. 15 to 16 years. Nothing has gone out the door. For Fallout 76 went out the door and they update that. And it does horrible in comparison and nobody wants it. They don't listen to consumer feedback and they're costing their parent company big money. And nothing's being done. ID already said that'll be fine considering they now have the same size studios they did before. All the mass hirings. I mean, like, we saw the graph back here, right? Where they've clearly bloated as a company. They have a lot of people now. But they're not getting stuff out the door. You're paying all these people likely 6 figures a year, or close to, depending on which developer levels. And you have 400 people, and you're paying them all every year, and you have very little cash flow coming in. They're getting floated by their parent company. So the parent company has to make a decision, right? So like, obviously it sucks, but like, what do you want them to do? Continue to lose millions of dollars every year because they're not making a product?
Likely that the studio may not have much leverage to protest some new request. And he goes on to say it's their job. But if you're bad at your job, it's time to get a new job. The article goes on to say it is likely that the studio may not have much leverage to protest something like this these days. Fallout is Xbox's. If it wants Obsidian to make a Fallout game so players can get their hands on one before 2035, it's going to do that.
16,
and yeah,
I'm happy to still be
that's
with y'all even if that means just lurking. Love your chat. Love your flats. You can never get rid of J-Milady Giga Chat.
Yo, thank you, Lindsay. Appreciate it. 30 months.
That's what's going to happen. It was the common sense move 5 fucking years ago. And it took a former Instacart executive with no gaming
I went too far back.
to step in and within months make that decision. It shows me, and it should show you, that this could have been done from the start. So I do want to mention...
It's a general dev timeline inflation for the industry in general, not specific BGS, though. But Bethesda, though, like, okay, Rockstar, the number one most anticipated game of our generation, GTA 6, is coming out at the end of this year. GTA 6 has 100 times more hype from it than Elder Scrolls 6 when it got announced 5 years ago. Literally, there's been memes from years of, oh, I want this, I want to be able to experience this before GTA 6 comes out. And that'll be out the door faster by many years than a Fallout or a Skyrim or Elder Scrolls game.
Fast.
By many
years.
Is
a legendary team with decades of talent working together. They successfully rebooted Doom to the modern gaming era.
Plus, they released Red Dead Redemption 2. True.
They were the exact thing that Asha wanted. In-house tech shared between studios. id Software did everything right. They made tech shared internally. They shipped profitable games regularly. They even co-developed Bethesda projects. And they did this all with about 185 people. They are now less than 50. The remaining studio put out this statement. They said, "Thank you for all the support this week. While our studio was impacted, those changes were spread across teams. We still have the crew we need to build the games and tech we're known for. The team today is about the same size we were when making Doom 2016. We have always had a flat studio where everyone is a maker, and we will remain true to that philosophy moving forward. We are focused on supporting each other and the team members impacted. We're going to keep building great games and tech that have defined us for the past 35 years, and we're looking forward to seeing you at QuakeCon this August."
No, that was
a nice statement and everything. It just doesn't really do it for me. I feel like of all teams at Xbox, id might have been one of the few you should have absolutely left alone, but I guess only time will tell where that goes. But yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. If you want to buy a mug, go to drawoutstore.com. And yeah, again, I'm not trying to sound mean to people at Bethesda.
That's what I was talking about. They still the same size studio now as when they did the first reboot. What, for all the, like, so you're saying like they shouldn't have laid off all the people that they did at ID?
Laid off. I just don't see any way of moving forward for them.
Also, you said that there was a follow-up video to this. Hold on, before I go to this one. So that video came out 2 weeks ago. This came out last week, July 17th. Oh, he covers it in the video. Okay, I think I can just cover the tweet. It's okay. I know from Bethesda's game studios, we love making these worlds as much as you love playing in them. Today, we want to share what's next for Bethesda's game studios and what you can expect from us in the years ahead. For 40 years, we've built games that have entertained almost 500 million players. More than just games, these are worlds for you to explore, shape, and make your own worlds we return to together. That's what's driving us forward. We're investing more deeply in the worlds players love, giving creators a bigger role in shaping their experiences and bringing our teams closer together so we can get our games in your hands sooner, supporting them longer, and continue to build them alongside you for many decades to come. Starfield continues with over 17 million players logging in almost 1 billion hours to date. Starfield remains an important part of our future. As we enter year 3, we'll continue expanding the settled systems with new stories, targeted gameplay improvements, and additional updates, while preparing for the launch of new Starborn content next year. More than 40% of our players already customized their experience through creations, and we'll continue to investing in creators and giving players new ways to make Starfield their own. 40% of 17 million, I don't buy that even a slightest. 40% of current day players, absolutely, I'd buy that. Created by the players. We believe from the beginning that our worlds belong not only to the players who make them, but also to the people who play them. That's why we've long provided players with the tools to create their own experiences, dating back to Morrowind construction set. This year marked another major milestone for creations and its expansion to Fallout 4, joining Skyrim and Starfield. We're proud to say creators have already earned more than 10 million in royalties from this work. So this is like modding community, right? I believe. The future of Fallout. Fallout is one of the biggest priorities today. Fallout 5 remains our long-range destination, and we have multiple Fallout projects in active development right now. Fallout 76 continues to be home to millions of players exploring Appalachia's together. With nearly 70 free updates released to date, the journey is far from over. In fact, we have a major Fallout 76 expansion planned for next year. Raven Rock, a prequel story to Fallout 3. Fallout 4, the most award-winning game in the franchise, just celebrated its 10-year anniversary and recently passed over 35 million copies sold, continuing to attract a new audience every year. This just sounds like a plea to shareholders, though. Like this doesn't mean shit to us. It's like, oh yeah, we're still working on Fallout 76, which nobody really wants. They want a new game, but we're still getting a lot of updates out of players, and they're still playing it. And then we also sold a bunch of Fallout 4, which is an 11-year-old game. We also know many players want to revisit previous Fallout experiences. While not announcing any dates today, we've been working on remasters for both Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. So it's like, again, still no new games, but like, we'll remake these old ones eventually. Yeah, they're coming some point. Fallout Shelter, that's the mobile game, continues to be the most popular ways to experience Fallout on the go, with more than 250 million players. There's more ahead for Fallout Shelter, including new seasons, an unscripted Fallout Shelter television project, and in the works with our partners at Amazon Studios and Kelter Films. Again, though, still no new games that actually people want. It's a mobile games, with a TV spinoff. Okay. We'd like to congratulate Kelter Films and Amazon Studios on the 10 Emmy nominations for Fallout Season 2. Production on Season 3 is already underway. Again, great TV series. I've only seen a little bit of it. Just like with Edge Runners, with Cyberpunk, could have done a lot for the franchise, could have brought a lot of people into playing it, especially if there's a game that got released around it. However, that would have been, too smart. There's no game that got announced around it. It just wants to pump players to Fallout 76. My, at least, idea of why they did that is because it's a live service game. I don't know what the monetization looks like for Fallout 76, but because it's a live service game, I'm sure they make more money off of it, as opposed to selling one-off copies, as opposed to like making a whole game, spending years making it, and then selling it once. Anyways, and while we won't be hosting a traditional Fallout Day broadcast this year, we're already planning something special for Fallout's 30th anniversary in 2027, when Fallout Day will be celebrated live in Washington, D.C. Studio collaboration. The Wasteland continues to expand as we team up once again with our longtime friends at Obsidian Entertainment. We're happy to confirm they're working with us on a new Fallout project. We'll have more to share in the future. Okay, so this is where they finally announced that Obsidian actually did get it yoinked away from them because they're just not doing their job. This is the Asha effect, where they said, hey, you know what, you guys aren't doing it, we're going to give it to Obsidian. And Obsidian, of course, is the ones who made Fallout New Vegas. We're also bringing our teams closer together across Bethesda, ZeniMax, and online studios. We'll partner closely with Bethesda's game studios on the Elder Scrolls franchise, while continuing to deliver incredible new experiences for the Elder Scrolls Online. Season 1, Return of the Thieves Guild, recently launched, and the team has more planned for the future. By aligning more directly across the franchise, we can create even better experiences for player. Again, another live service game. They're really trying to lean on these Elder Scrolls Online, these Fallout 76s. That's not what people want, though. They don't care. They want the offline Fallout / Elder Scrolls experience. That's what they want. That's what they've been looking for years, and they can't get it. Bringing our teams close together is helping us build a stronger foundation for everything we create next, the Elder Scrolls and beyond. That foundation extends beyond our teams and technology tools and systems that power the next generation of Bethesda RPGs. Our teams are now developing the Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 on Creation Engine 3, a shared technology platform we've been building since Starfield's launch. It allows our teams to support multiple projects simultaneously with new tools, rendering, and support systems that define our games. Fallout 5 is currently in pre-production. The Elder Scrolls 6 is our primary development focus today, with the majority of our team currently working on the next chapter of the franchise. With over 65 million copies sold, players are still exploring Skyrim 15 years later, but we know it's been a very long wait for the sequel. The next chapter is on the way, where we're planning to be, loving how it looks and playing it every day. The road ahead, so okay, at least it's confirmed it's in development. That's good. Across Bethesda Game Studios, we're building for the future of Fallout, the Elder Scrolls, and Starfield. We're investing in our technologies, bringing teams closer together, supporting our live games, and expanding into new forms of entertainment and developing the next generation of Bethesda RPGs. We couldn't be more excited for what's ahead and wanted to share as much as we could today. We can't thank you enough for all you've given us these worlds. We can't wait to continue them together. The funny part about all this is there's nothing interesting other than the fact that they actually said, oh yeah, we are working on Elder Scrolls 6. Fallout 5 is not even close. They're still in pre-production, and they're handing stuff off to Obsidian. This is a week ago in 2026, and nothing has come out. Call me pessimistic, but I see Asha as a talented exec with good intel, doing lip service and token gestures to garner favor and buy good graces, so MS can set the table for profitability and more intentionality than their previous administrators did. But their previous administrator was widely loved and wasn't getting shit done. There's been reports that come out that Xbox's studios have basically all been getting floated by Minecraft. by itself. That's how powerful Minecraft is. So clearly they're realizing, oh shit, we need to start monetizing these other platforms. These games need to actually make games and actually make money. I'm not going to try to say, like, obviously she's going to try to garner favor. Like, of course she is. Like, who wouldn't want to garner favor as a new CEO coming in, especially coming after one that's been widely beloved? But like, let's be honest here. We're 15 years out of a Skyrim game. Phil and their team didn't do shit. So, you know, what exactly would you want? You know what I mean? Like, if all the players and the gamers are like, we want this, and then she says, okay, let's try to give them that. Isn't that kind of what you want? Right? It's not going to get cleaned up overnight. There's going to be a lot of problems. There's probably going to be more layoffs. Right? There's probably going to be even more layoffs. But what do you know? Isn't she also making games exclusive again? I'm not super familiar with that route, but Sony is doing that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do that as a response back to Sony, because Sony said they were going to play nice and then stop playing nice, which is kind of sucks, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. Anyways, though, I was always a big fan of Fallout, always a big fan of Skyrim, so I'd love to see those games actually get out the door. Great video, though, actually kind of explaining all of it. But regardless, though, yeah, unfortunately,